Inheritance of the Land by Bala Sulam. No English text for this article.
נתחיל לקרוא כמה פסוקים, קטעים נבחרים. מתוך מאמר של רבי שמואל.
We'll start from reading some excerpts from an article by Rabbi Shmuel, portion Vahazinu. The purpose of creation was that everyone will become one unit and follow the will of the Creator. As it is written, Adam Rishon said to all the created beings, "Let's bow and kneel before the Creator." But due to the sin, the matter was corrupted, so that even the best ones in those generations couldn't come together to work for the Creator. But there were only unique individuals, because one foreign item in the unit ruins the unit, and it is no longer considered a unit. And the correction for this began in the generation of the division, when there was a division made in mankind. Meaning that the correction began, and there was a gathering and collection, a unity of people working for the Creator, that started from Abraham and his descendants, that started as a collected group for the work of the Creator. Meaning first the Creator made a separation in the whole of the humankind, in the generation of divinity, and all the workers were separated. Then began the matter of unifying for the work of the Creator, because Abraham went to call in the Creator's name, until a great community gathered around him, and they were called the people of the house of Abraham. And the matter expanded and grew until they became the community of Israel. And the final correction will be that everyone will become one unit to follow your will with a complete heart. We'll read once again. The purpose of creation was that everyone will be in one unit to follow the Creator's will. As it is written, Adam Rishon, the first man, said to all the created beings, "Let's bow and kneel before the Creator." But due to the sin, the matter was ruined, so that even the best ones in those generations couldn't unite together to work for the Creator, but they were only unique individuals. Because one foreign thing in the work, in the unit, ruins the whole unity, and it's no longer considered a unit.
Meaning, we don't know exactly what was before Adam Rishon. There is some assumption, rumors, out of attainment, understanding a little bit, but the truth is, we don't have a link to these generations, so that it will be revealed in the future. But it is certainly not for no reason that there were no people before that attained the Creator. Before the sin, it's not important for us, because as to the system, we don't belong to them. After the sin, this whole matter became more clear, that the sin must be corrected and we should reach the final correction. But prior to the sin, we do not understand the work. Without the shattering, what efforts should have been made in order to reach the Creator? It's as if there is no work of the Creator. That's what he's saying. The intention of the creation was that everyone... The intention of creation was that everyone will be as one unit to do the Creator's will, as it is written, that Adam Rishon told all the created beings, let's bow down and kneel before the Creator. However, due to the sin, it was corrupted. Meaning, there was work before the sin, until even the best ones of those generations could not unite to do the Creator's work. Rather, there were separate individuals. Here too, it's not clear what are these separate individuals. Why were they separate? There wasn't any shattering between them, and it wasn't revealed as evil that they had to overcome and unite. Because one foreign thing in the unit corrupts the whole unit. This is after the sin already, and then it's not considered anymore a unit. And the corruption started in the generation of the separation, when there was a separation in the humankind, meaning that the correction started, that there would be a gathering and a unit of people to do the Creator's work. That started from Abraham and his descendants, so that there would be a community gathered to do the Creator's work. This is Abraham's work already. He started correcting the corruption that was in the 20 generations after Adam. Meaning, first the Creator created the separation in the humankind, that in the generation of the separation, that they grew until the Tower of Babylon, and then they separated all the workers of the city of On, and then the matter of the unity to do the Creator's work, because Abraham would walk and call in the name of the Lord until a great community gathered around him, and they called the house of Abraham, household of Abraham, and they grew and became a complete community of Israel. And the final correction will be in the future, when everyone will become one unit to do your will in a complete heart, and so we will reach the final correction. But what work of the Creator was before Adam Rishon, without the shattering and the degrees Shoresh Aleph Bet Gimel? That is only uniting, not out of the ego that existed in them, probably. Rather, they used to work on the connection without any resistance. They would seemingly draw naturally towards each other. It's not clear. these degrees of Shosh, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, root 1, 2, 3, that are seemingly without desire, ripened desire, it's vague, belongs to spirituality, it's swallowed within divinity. It's like still vegetative and animate that have no relation to free choice. They have no evil inclination, they have nothing. It's like Moses answered the angels, asked about why didn't they receive the Torah. It's because they don't have an evil inclination. We see that in order to receive the Torah, you have to go through the exile in Egypt. Then one is worthy of the Torah. It comes as a correction. Next.
From the writings of Rabash, from the article, Abraham gave birth to Isaac. The world stands on three things: the Torah, the labor, and charity. And Abraham is referred to as the man of mercy, that he dedicated his strength to give mercy to people. Isaac is referred to as the pillar of work, that he devoted his soul on the altar. And Jacob is referred to the pillar of the Torah. And every person should reach those three pillars. And before these three pillars were revealed one after another by our patriarchs, everyone revealed a different pillar. After the three pillars were revealed, we have the strength to follow the same paths that were paved by the patriarchs. And therefore, we are referred to as the nation of the remedy, because we have the remedy by inheritance from the forefathers to carry out these three pillars by which the world stands. Meaning, by them the world will exist in order to reach the goal for which it was created. Once again, the world stands on three things: Torah and labor and giving mercy. Abraham is referred to as the man of mercy, who gave his strength to give mercy to people. Isaac is referred to as the pillar of work, who devoted himself on the altar. And Jacob is referred to as the pillar of Torah. And every person should reach those three pillars. And before the three pillars were revealed by our holy fathers, everyone revealed one pillar. And after the three pillars were revealed, we have the strength to follow the same paths that our fathers paved for us. And because of that, we're referred to as the nation of the remedy, because we have Am Segula, because we have the remedy by inheritance from the forefathers to carry out the three pillars by which the world exists, meaning by which the world will reach the goal for which it was created.
Next.
This is from Shamati. Every man of Israel has an internal point in the heart, which is considered simple faith. This is an inheritance from our fathers who stood at Mount Sinai. However, it is covered by many shells, klipot, which are all kinds of dresses of lo lishma.
These are the same reshimot that used to be fulfilled in past incarnations. Today too, these reshimot are being used. It's only that what is the decline of the generations? Their intensity is a lot weaker because there's a concealment over them. That's one thing. And another thing is that every Reshimot that existed before splits, divides into many different Reshimot from that one Reshimot. That's why their force is feeble, and it's a lot less than the previous Reshimot called forefathers or father, from which it comes. Every man of Israel has an internal point in the heart, which is considered simple faith, as they attained at that time the degree of faith. This is an inheritance from our fathers who stood at Mount Sinai. However, it is covered by many shells, klipot, which are all kinds of dresses of lo lishma, not for her name. This means that there are different kinds of intentions, thoughts, desires that draw a person to use specifically the same Reshimot in different kinds of directions, not necessarily in adhesion with the Creator to equivalence of form. Rather, different kinds of things that don't belong to the work of the Creator. They also cover it, the same Reshimot. And the shells should be removed, the disturbances. Then his basis will be called faith alone, without any support and outside help. So that we'll be able to peel off all the disturbances and the peels, the klipot, the shells, and will come to it just as it was in the degree of the forefathers. That's the goal. More?
From the writings of Rabash, from the article The Merit of the Forefathers. Due to the merit of the forefathers, we have the power to make the choice, and if not for the merit of the fathers, we wouldn't have any place to make a choice. And in terms of reality, we see that even though we have the merit of the fathers, still we see that not everyone has the strength to make the actual choice. But each and every one has a difficulty regarding that. However, we need great mercy to be able to make the choice and leave self-love and accept upon ourselves the love of others, and that all our aspirations will only be to bestow contentment to the Creator. And with all the remedies of Torah and mitzvot, to be capable of winning over against the evil inclination within us and turn it to good. We'll read it again. Thanks to the merit of the fathers, we have the power to make the choice, and if not for that, we wouldn't have any place to make a choice.
Meaning, the forefathers help because of them. We can do the work that they determined, they fixed, and because of them we have a link, privilege. Privilege. We have maybe an advantage, a benefit. We have a benefit. We don't start from scratch. We can advance thanks to their work. Thanks to their work, we have the force to do the choice. Without their merit, we wouldn't have any place to make the choice. Because they did the work, we are in a state of choice. And as to reality, we see that even though we have the merit of the forefathers, meaning they did the work, they prepared it for us, and we can make the choice. Anyhow, we don't see that everyone has the force to make the choice. Rather, each and every one finds this thing difficult. But we need great mercy to make the choice, meaning to come out of self-love and to take upon ourselves love of others. This is actually the choice, how to leave one and to do the other. Of course, the choice is not to leave. Rather, the choice is to cause myself to leave this self-love and to move on to love of others. That all our aspirations will be only to bestow contentment to the Creator. And also, with all the remedies of Torah and Mitzvot, that we'll be able to triumph over the evil in us and to invert it to the good. So, even though we do have the merit of the forefathers, we have to work a lot in order to fulfill it. The forefathers' merit means that they prepared us the opportunity for free choice. Without that merit, we'd be as beasts with no choice. Rather, whatever we're given, we're performing. Well, and this is only a warm-up, let's say. Now let's move on to the inheritance of the land. That's from the writings of Bala Sulam in Hebrew, page 505. There is no English text for that.
Israel will not return to their land.
First of all, this is from the manuscript of Bala Sulam. That's why it's not organized so that we can see it and read and enjoy the nice flow of the text, just as Bala Sulam knows how to write. Rather, he just wrote it for himself as a draft to later on make an article out of it.
Israel will not return to their land until they will all be united as one.
This is important, that basically first you come to build the nation, and if you did that right, then you deserve being in the land of Israel. That you deserve to settle in a place which was determined for you, defined for you. And what we now seemingly did, that we were thrown over here in Israel by different occasions, instances that happened all over the place, and then they threw us to the land of Israel. That's against nature. It shouldn't have occurred this way. We shouldn't have done it this way. That's why there's also a rumor in the religion not to come to the land of Israel if you want, even if you want to come. Rather, there must be great preparation in the people so they would be prepared for it. There are many Orthodox religious people abroad that don't come to Israel, including the rabbi from Lubavitch. What, they didn't want to come? They didn't have the ability, the means? Rather, it's because this law, the rule that the land of Israel comes either when it's totally destroyed, and then there could be someone living there against the people of Israel, just as it was when the 7 nations lived here in Israel before the people of Israel came from the desert to the land of Israel. Or we now round up, connect, and then we deserve being in the land of Israel. Meaning, first there must be a preparation from the nation's behalf, the people's behalf, the one who speaks. Then he can come and land over the still vegetative and animate levels. Let's start again.
Israel will not return to their land until they will all be united as one. Our sages said, Israel are not redeemed until they are all united as one.
Meaning that's the condition. Before that, we're not considered to be existing.
2. And we should understand what is the matter of the unity of Israel in relation to the redemption.
Redemption means that we are worthy of the land of Israel and come to the land of Israel from a place that doesn't deserve to us. Rather, doesn't belong to us. It used to belong to us in a form of destruction, of a shattering.
3. We should first precede the matter of how shall I know that I'll inherit the land and your descendants will be foreigners in their land and so forth, and after that they will merit great property. And the difficulty is, what is the answer for Abraham's question? 4. We should understand what is the matter of the whole creation in which the man suffers so bad. Why? Couldn't the Creator give benefit to the created beings without all that? It's written in the books that the souls cannot receive the good reward for which He created the world and the souls without having the right kli to receive it. And that vessel, the kli, is not attained by the person without the labor and the exertion to follow the mitzvot out of pressure and wars against the evil inclination and the many preventions and troubling. Because this sorrow and effort in Torah and mitzvot creates the vessel for the soul to be ready to receive all the good and pleasure for which all the created beings were created. Regarding that, we understand the article of Ben Hehe from Mishnah Avot, who says, according to the sorrow is the reward, which means that the reward is measured by the extent of sorrow. Seemingly, this is difficult. Why is the sorrow connected to the reward? Regarding the above, we clearly understand that all the matter of sorrow and effort that was prepared in the world is to find the vessel to receive the good reward for the labor in Torah and mitzvot. It's self-explanatory that the more one's sorrow in Torah and mitzvot is great, the greater the vessel that he has, and the more reward he can get.
This means that we have to be in the exile, to go through all the exiles, so that through all the redemptions we'll reach the complete redemption. Otherwise we can't prepare our kli to match, to be in the right magnitude, right intensity that matches the upper light, so that we can reveal it, meaning reveal the Creator with complete adhesion. That's why we have to go through all these different states. Yes?
And now we understand the answer of the Creator to the question posed by Abraham. How shall I know, etc. Because Abraham's question was because he saw through his Holy Spirit the great measure of the good reward that is destined to come to Israel thanks to the inheritance of the land. Since carrying out all the mitzvot depends on the land. Therefore, Abraham pondered, how shall I know that I'll inherit the land? Meaning, how will I know that the children of Israel will merit this great reward to that great extent? Because where will they get the great vessels that are worthy for this great reception? And the Creator answered him for that, your descendants will be foreign in their land, and they will be tortured 400 years. And that will give them great effort in Torah and mitzvot, and he understood that in that way they will certainly attain the great vessels of reception, and the answer was completely satisfactory. So it turns out that a lot of preparation is required for the inheritance of the land, since the entire merit of Torah and mitzvot relies on it.
That if we don't have the corrupt vessels, what do you need the Torah for? You first must have the exile, acquiring the vessels, the 400 years, the 4 complete degrees of the Havaya. Then you reach the thickest aviyut, coarseness, and then we need the reforming light. Without the exile, there's no need for the Torah.
By that, we merit all the abundance and goodness that the Creator thought about all the souls of Israel before He created them.
Because the light that reforms can invert the worst evil, the deepest evil, the worst, to good. And then there's place for the light to settle in all the depths of what used to be the klipot and the horrible things.
And for that reason, Abraham pondered. He didn't understand where will they get the great vessels of reception to merit the inheritance of the land.
That all the desire, the land, will be sanctified, meaning only in order to bestow.
Until the Creator told him that the labor in Torah and mitzvot in the exile of Egypt will prepare them with these great vessels.
Meaning, both in the exile of Egypt and Babylon, they already engaged in the Torah, but that's not yet called Torah, because Torah is what works specifically against the evil inclination after the exile, and all those previous methods, just as we spoke of what we had before the sin of Adam Rishon, or after the sin, but before Abraham. It wasn't really recognition of evil, because this evil was revealed between simple human beings, not as the evil that was revealed among Israel in Egypt. That after Babylon and what Abraham brought to them, the method of correction, the method of love, is in order for them to start engaging in it and discovering that they don't have the connection. And by wanting to connect and being incapable of it, of connecting, then Egypt is revealed, the domination of Pharaoh. And when the domination of Pharaoh is completely revealed, then they need the Torah. Look at all these twists, these wheel after wheel turning, all these turnings. This principle all the time repeats itself. It's only that it's in higher and higher degrees. There was work of the Creator before Adam Rishon. Then there was a shattering. After the shattering, it's a different kind of work. It's not yet the evil inclination, but there's a relation, as we learn about Cain, Abel, Shem, Yefet, and later on the flood, and the 10 generations between the flood and Babylon. Meaning this is already revelation of an additional will to receive, which is complex, but you don't feel in it that they're really colliding, the particles, the parts of this desire. In Babylon, it's felt that the parts of the will to receive in general are colliding, and out of the entire Babylon, we're filtering the parts that are willing to work over themselves. These are called Israel. these are called Yashar Kel. Some are aimed towards it, some are not. And then Abraham starts working with the parts that are aimed toward the Creator in order to connect them. It's still in Chesed Gvura Tiferet. And what is done between them, all in all, they reach some quarrel between the children of Jacob. It's not something so special. It's a general resistance to the attribute of Joseph, of adding in connection. It's not yet real ego. Then going down to Egypt. Then in Egypt, the thing that is revealed is that between the parts that came out of Babylon, among them a strife is revealed. Even they can't connect, even though they're trying to work. They're trying to be in a connection. The children of Israel sighed from the work, but they couldn't do it. And then they reach a state that that's it. They can no longer stay in that state. They cry out and are merited with redemption. Now this is not true redemption. It's all it is disconnecting, detaching from the ego that separates them, so that they're in a somewhat neutral state. And then they can be asked, are you ready for it or not ready for it? This is the standing before Mount Sinai. You choose it, that's good. You don't choose it, so you stay in it. That's the meaning of this is the place of your burial. So look how many steps you have to go through in the revelation of the will to receive, and the collision between its parts, and the revelation of the shattering, in order to reach a state that you need the reforming light, the Torah. And then it affects, it bestows, and within 40 years you reach a state that you're ready, or as he says here in the beginning of the article, Israel won't return to their land until they're one unit. Then you reach a state of one unit and you can come into the land of Israel. They settled down, they did what the correction needed, and that's enough for one moment. If there is contact, that's it. Now, the descending, the shattering begins, and another round, going out to the last exile again, mingling in all the nations, and then the whole nation should rise, come to connect, and then when seemingly returning to the land of Israel, even before the previous connection, rather when in the land of Israel, in even the country of Israel, we'll learn what the country of Israel is. It's an artificial thing. And then, over here, it's possible to start connecting. Why isn't it like it is, he writes, that the people of Israel won't return to the land until they're all one unit? Rather, it's in such a way that the nations of the world put pressure on them, and they force them with no choice to come back over here. The situation here is that more than half of the people want to run back over there, and only when over here, as if this is the land of Israel, and it's as if this is the nation of Israel, then a correction is carried out. And the correction is also not of their desire, rather it's because they are surrounded by haters, aggressors from all sides, and it's a general hatred and threat and so forth, and then they do it. And that's interesting. It was never like this before, that they came over here to the land of Israel to specifically here perform the correction of the nation, to build up the nation. We are yet to speak of it. These are not simple things. Great differences here between everything that happened in the past incarnations, past rounds. Yes?
We're in the second column. Until the Creator told him that the labor in Torah and Mitzvot in the exile in Egypt will prepare their great vessels, and they will be worthy of the inheritance of the Holy Land. And the question about that is those who engage in the Torah, but those who engage in the matters of the world, who are not ready to engage in the Torah at all, how will they merit these vessels?
Here he speaks of both of the ones that maybe not all of Israel will be ready to correct themselves. And what about the whole world? How will they get the correction? Because Abraham demanded it of all of the Babylons.
However, the answer is that they said in the above tractate that Israel are not redeemed until they are united as one, because the collective of Israel are literally one body, where each and every organ has a specific function for that organ. For instance, the head calculates the reason and intellect, and the hands work and provide nourishment for the head. And the head doesn't work by itself. It's exempt from it because it has no need for it. For the hands are sufficient. And the hands have no need to work or calculate how to work because the head is completely sufficient for that. Therefore, if Israel will become united as one, like one body, where those who do the work, who are the hands of the body, will be sufficient for the head, then the sorrow and labor of those who work in the Torah will compensate for those who work with the hands. And it is clearly understood the matter of one unity that brings the redemption.
We still have to scrutinize very well what is this whole process, the moves that we have to take by ourselves here in the land of Israel, with the nation of Israel, and with all the places in the world, all the nations of the world. We'll still have to discover this in a tangible way so that we can really sense it. In what way we bring ourselves to be as one body, just as it was in Abraham's time. In corporeality we see and we can say, oh, this is Jew and this isn't. We can say, this belongs to the people of Israel and this doesn't. But that's not true. Because we're in the shattering after the destruction, after the ruin, and in the general integration of Israel with all the nations of the world, in such a way that there is a problem here of scrutiny. Well, we will scrutinize this in the future. I don't think that it has to happen today. I'm really drawn to bring more articles, more material for general articles for the public. That's why I don't delve into it. We'll return to it in a week or so, when we'll have the articles for the general public before the Israeli Independence Day, the Memorial Day of the Holocaust, and the Independence Day, then we can repeat it. What next? The exile and redemption. Exile and redemption.
Should I provide some general background? Well, that's very simple. We started, well, maybe not we, but at least me. I started from Rosh Hashanah and onwards, the matter of kind of putting an order into the structure of history and the holidays and everything that we have according to these indications on the path, meaning how the holidays have to do with our history as well as the spiritual process that the whole world needs to go through, and what is the essence of the process, which is unity. That first we should create the global Bnei Baruch, and then Israel, meaning the Jewish part, and then all the world. How do we make it so that everyone begins to unite and move towards the final correction? So it started from Rosh Hashanah, more or less, with that article in the New York Times, "Who are you people of Israel?" And then Jonah and all that, and then Purim, where we had Purim in a very kind of open way. Then Passover, we're scrutinizing it, not completely in depth, but somewhat. Most important is that what's clear to us is that all the corrections are about connection. The final correction of the world is that everyone are united as one, and they cling to the Creator entirely, completely. And that elevates all of us to the level of the world of Atzilut and further to Ein Sof. Therefore, we now need to take advantage of all those dates that we have on the calendar, even though they're seemingly artificial ones, like the Holocaust, or the Memorial Day in Israel, or the Independence Day. But for the sake of dissemination as well as our study, we need to try to understand the essence of these dates. Therefore, we're all now aiming at the Independence Day. You could say, what's the Independence Day? It's nothing. So the UN called us a country and we're celebrating that, or what Ben Gurion did or said. There are opinions in this direction and that direction. True, but it's just a reason for us. It's a reason or an excuse to examine the concept of independence and what does it mean to be independent in our land. Independent of what? We understand that independence is independence from egoism, which connects us incorrectly, badly, where everyone sees how they can trample over others and exploit others. So we want to see what it means to be free, and being free is not being free from the neighboring countries, rather to be free of my own egoism internally. And that is real freedom, to be a free nation in our land, in our desire, meaning that I can connect my desire, direct my desire to connect with others. And that's where we're headed in terms of scrutinizing this. And this is relevant to those who are in the land of Israel, meaning have a desire that yearns for the Creator. That's what we call Israel, Yashar El, this land. And those who are also on the physical land, because the spiritual root must reach and connect with the corporeal branch. As Baal Sulam writes, that the correction is when this world rises to the level of the upper world, this corporeal world. So, this is what we're aiming to scrutinize. Everyone's clear on this goal? Okay, so let's go.
Exile and redemption. The harmony between the religion, the law of evolution, and blind faith. Among the nations you shall have no repose, and that which comes into your mind shall not be at all. In that you say, we will be as the nations, as the families of the countries. The Creator will evidently show us that Israel cannot exist in exile, and will find no rest, as the rest of the nations that mingled among the nations and found rest, and assimilated in them, until no trace was left of them. Not so is the house of Israel. This nation will find no rest among the nations until it realizes the verse, and from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find Him, for you will demand Him with all your heart and all your soul.
The matter is simple. Since the purpose of creation is to bring all of humanity to connection and adhesion, connection among them, adhesion with the Creator. Those who can make it happen are those people with the sparks. Those sparks appeared first in Babylon. And those who wanted to transcend the separating ego with these sparks and unite, they were called Yashar El, directly to the Creator, straight to the Creator, Israel. Then it turns out that the correction of the world relies on those people who have developed these sparks, or those who feel the need for connection, for the revelation of the Creator, adhesion with the Creator, in each and every generation. Therefore, he says that the correction of the world depends on Israel, meaning those who can approach adhesion. And the question is, how can they also work with all the other people who don't have that clear inclination, direct inclination towards connection and correction?
This can be examined by studying Providence and the verse which states about us, the Torah is true, and all its words are true, and woe to us as long as we doubt its truthfulness. And we say about all the rebuke that is happening to us, that it is chance and blind faith. This has but one cure, to bring the troubles back on us to such an extent that we will see that they are not coincidental, but steadfast providence intended for us in the Holy Torah.
In other words, we will find ourselves going through greater and smaller troubles until we realize that there is a plan here, that there is a specific force that works in us systematically, and it doesn't leave us alone, and it won't leave us until we follow that plan exactly that it's trying to implement. And the more we equalize, harmonize with that force, that's called taking the accelerated path, hastening. And if we don't really take it into account, we move forward as well. But it's a longer path until we understand, until we suffer blows that make us want to change our relation to that higher force. And that's called in due time. But in either case, it's also called by the government of heaven or by the government of the earth. In either way, we must and we will reach the final correction.
And we should clarify this matter by the law of development itself. The nature of the steadfast guidance that we have attained through the Holy Torah, as in the path of Torah and providence, a far more rapid development than the other nations has come to us. And because the members of the nation developed so, there was always the necessity to go forward and be extremely meticulous with all the mitzvot of the Torah. And because they would not do it, but wished to include their narrow selfishness, meaning the lo lishma, not for her name, this developed the ruin of the first temple, since they wished to extol wealth and power over justice as other nations. But because the Torah prohibits it, they denied the Torah and the prophecy and adopted the manners of the neighbors so they could enjoy life as much as selfishness demanded of them. And because they did that, the powers of the nations disintegrated. Some followed the kings and the selfish officers, and some followed the prophets. And that separation continued until the ruin.
So this is very simple. Either we move towards unity, or that force that should have united us leads us to a collapse and ruin. We can't just stay in some intermediate phase like other nations. That's where we are at the extremes. We're either this way or that way. We're talking about the situation where the people of Israel are in one place. They were in their own territory. And we see how the same happens today. We can't be just calm socially and within our own place. A lot of other nations and countries have their life, and it's not as fervent and crazy as in Israel. Because in our case, if we don't use that force of unity that we should have, then the force of dispersion works on us. Because the same force has to work on us this way or that way. So we can't wait for something to be better or somehow just pass or fall into place, or it won't work. Because as long as we don't use that force by ourselves, it works on us negatively.
In the second temple, it was even more conspicuous, since the beginning of the separation was publicly displayed by unvirtuous disciples, headed by Tzadok and Baitos. Their mutiny against our sages revolved primarily around the obligation of Lishma, her sake. As our sages said, "Wise men, be careful with your words."
Meaning, if in the first temple it was in the degree of receiving in order to bestow, and for that it is sufficient to bestow in order to bestow, and therefore they fell, from the degree of the Second Temple. So in the ruin of the Second Temple, in the exit from it, there was already a dispute about whether we even need to maintain the degree of Binah, to do things in order to bestow, or to do things the way we are, meaning keep your practical deeds of Torah and mitzvot that you can, like the dietary rules and the Shabbat, and pray according to the prayer book without all those inner intentions, and everything will be fine. So there was a dispute about that, meaning about whether it is needed to be in order to above reason in order to bestow or not. And because these inclinations already existed in the nation, they led to the ruin.
Their mutiny against our sages revolved primarily about the obligation of Lishma. As our sages said, "Wise men, be careful with your words," because they did not want to retire from selfishness. They created communities of this corrupt kind and became a great sect called Tzdokim, who were the rich and the officers, pursuing selfish desires unlike the path of Torah, and they fought the Prushim and brought the Roman kingdom's rule over Israel. They are the ones who would not make peace with the imperious, as our sages advised by the Torah, until the house was ruined and the glory of Israel was exiled.
Understood? So we're finished. We finished the first chapter. Questions? Oh, everyone's asleep already? Yes, Itzik. Do we understand this process, this move?
It turns out that I have a question, Tzvika style, that there's no path of Torah without the path of suffering?
Of course not. There can't be path of light without the path of suffering. The path of light is built on top of the path of suffering. If it's written, love covers all transgressions, it means that first are the transgressions or the crimes, and then there is some means that covers them, and that's called love.
So when does the path of...
No, but it's not that if we take this path then we need to have to be in the path of suffering. It's not the path of suffering. If I discover the evil in order to rise above it, that's already a path of Torah, a path of light. If I discover my ego in order to live in it and succeed and prosper normally and have everything, and later I suffer blows because I live in that ego, and for lack of a better choice I have to search for how to escape the blows. And that makes me needy of some help, something to get rid of the troubles. And by the troubles I begin to see that it's not just being beaten, but these are purposeful blows. And I no longer want to live in my ego because I suffer, but because of the purposeful blows, I begin to understand that even regardless of the blows, I want to shift to a new state. I want to shift my direction. And that means that I move from the path of suffering to the path of light. But look how long this process is if we start detailing it even more. But the path of light means that to begin with, I'm in a state where I'm in the group, in connection with others, attempting to unite. And I discover in the group, not just in ordinary life, but in the group, troubles, and these are purposeful troubles because it's all opposite the connection. You understand? It all ends up in the same 10. And then I draw the light that reforms because I want it to influence me, and then it finds within that, for me, within that laboratory called the group, it explores all those, let's say, elements of the situation. And I examine the ego directly, because the ego is what opposes connection. And I feel suffering. It's a certain kind of suffering. The children of Israel shall sigh from the work, meaning I want to unite, but my ego doesn't let me. And so it makes me work in a very purposeful and directed and goal-oriented manner. And that's called the path of light. It contains suffering too. It contains, it entails confusions and vagueness, but it all happens concisely, directly, very to the point and internal. And that's how we work. So the difference is that to begin with, what is my intention? Where am I going to progress? What is my goal? What are my means? It's all different. Understood? Okay, one time. Take the left one.
Continuing your answer, as you told Itai last night that when we learn the articles we don't draw the light, but when we learn Kabbalah we do draw the light. So what should we do when we learn the articles?
You can't make that division. What I said yesterday about drawing the light or not, what I meant was that when we learn the articles, we learn how to get along together between us, how to organize ourselves. And when we study the Torah, then by how we organized according to the articles, we draw the light. But when we're studying now, we're studying the sort of the aspect of Torah in the articles, meaning we also draw the light by that. Perhaps you can help me explain this more clearly and highlight it. Rabash wrote his social articles and Baal HaSulam wrote a few in order for us to know how to unite. Then we have the matter that we learn, the material, the study material that we learn, and by that we receive the strength that helps us unite, meaning in addition to our acknowledgement, to our preparation on how to unite, we receive the power that unites us. And when we study these articles, we also draw the light that reforms. Yes.
And when we now learn this article of exile and redemption or other articles by Baal HaSulam, how to relate to that?
We relate to it this way and that way. You have in everything you have an aspect discussing how to unite, and an aspect that is more successful in drawing the light that reforms. Without all these parts, where does he write? Not all the parts of the Torah are the same. Where is it written? The teaching of Kabbalah in its essence, yeah.
So, when we read these articles, can you tell me with what intention to be?
I can't tell you because it won't help. Gradually, you'll feel how it works on you. You need both, this and that. It's not that, now I'm learning how to hug my friend and then get organized with that, and I'm not thinking about anything besides that. You can't, because even how to hug the friend, you also have to do it in accordance with drawing the light that reforms. You understand? This is called Torah and labor. These things are always together.
No, that's okay, but up until today, at least I understood, I related the whole lesson in the same way, but after what you told Itai, it sounds as if there are different kinds of ways to relate to it. So if it's unclear to me, maybe it's unclear to other people.
No. You'll also better understand it. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter. You understand. You have a good sense of it, actually. It's actually a good scrutiny. The Torah doesn't come by your decision. I'll think this way or think that way. It happens as a complete package, kind of. Both connection, unity, and drawing the light together. We'll continue. What do you want to add? No. Let's not add that part. It's good that we know where. Where is it?
The teaching of the Torah and its essence, page 22 in Hebrew, he writes that not all the portions of the Torah are equal as to the light.
Yeah, there are things that are more theoretical and more practical. What do you think? You'll feel all these things. What do you think? That I studied everything I'm telling you in such a great detail, and no, it's just from the same light.
Continuing the article, the difference between a secular ideal and a religious ideal.
By religious, he means the people who yearn to actualize the Torah. For him, the definition of religion, we saw it in different places in his writings. He has a different definition to how we define religion normally. He also introduces the concept of 13 years of age, which is a spiritual concept in the introduction to the Zohar, and explains this and so forth.
A secular ideal stems from humanness, and hence cannot raise itself above humanness.
It reaches the Reshimot of root 1, 2, 3, where a person works like an animal, and what he finds within, as in a living body, all kinds of desires, inclinations, that he receives within himself. That's what he wants to succeed with. This is called secular. Chiloni, from the word chol, sand, which means that there's not yet any relation to godliness.
But a religious idea, which stems from the Creator, can raise itself above humanity. This is because the basis for a secular ideal is in comparing and the price of glorifying man and his acts in order to boast in the eyes of the people. And although one is sometimes disgraced in the eyes of one's contemporaries, one still relies on other generations, and it is still a precious thing for him, like a gem that fuels its owner, although no one knows of it or cherishes it.
In other words, to hold on to what is dear to others, this is called property in the eyes of a secular person. Meaning it's even like he says, I have a gem that I hide in some place at home, or doesn't matter, a safe box in the bank, but it's mine, and I feel important, not because of this piece of stone, but because this is precious in the eyes of society, and therefore it makes me feel a sense of ownership. And my ownership is not about that gem, the stone. It's about having something that society appreciates. By that I as if grab the attention and the value from society and I hold it. And that is the problem we're talking about. Other than that, we be like animals. Animals meaning that I only take what's good for my own body, and that's it. Not taking anyone else into account. I'm only taking them into account to the extent that I need them to fill up my body, to satiate my body. If I can begin to relate to others and see what they appreciate, what they value, what makes them, what they live for, that is already human. That's a human development. We see it with kids. Until the age of 2 or 3, they don't even look at others. They're just busy with themselves, and they're playing with themselves. Then you start having like a little man. What's a little man? I want what he has, but you don't need it. Why? I want. Meaning the kid starts acquiring a desire from others. That's already a human development, or what Balasalom refers to here as a secular development. And a religious development means that I already want what's good in the eyes of the Creator, not society. And that's how I evolve, from the animate level to the human level to the godly level. Okay, let's continue.
A religious idea, however, is based on glory in the eyes of God. Hence, he who follows a religious idea can raise himself above humanness.
And because one cannot be focused on two things, he has to leave what is important for the human level. The desire is only one. What do you accept as the uppermost value? The piece of stone or some spiritual concept? And you can't sit on two chairs. If you try that, nothing will work. You'll end up with nothing. And that's how it is with respect to anything else. And it's especially about power, honor, money, honor, and knowledge. The food, sex, and family are things that the animalistic level must sustain, but in terms of money, honor, and knowledge, you have to prefer this over that.
The problem is not with us, it's the attention from the people, from the public.
The problem is how much are you influenced by the values of the public?
Is that the difference between religious and secular?
No, it's the difference. Well, if you want values that are appreciated by the Creator, in contrast to what's appreciated by the public, that means that you make the difference between secular ideals and religious ideals.
Both are affected from the environment.
Sure, of course. Only an animal is not influenced by the environment. It's influenced by its belly. Does it have enough in it or not? What does an animal think about? How to sustain itself and how to multiply. Instincts.
No, excuse me. You started with him wanting the rock, the stone, but the problem is not with the stone. He wanted to be the gem.
Right, he wants to be honored by the environment.
Yeah, honored by the religious is being honored by the
Honored
Creator.
by the Creator, yeah.
Yeah, so you're telling me now that both are affected by the environment.
Right. Either it's a human environment or it's a godly environment.
Yeah, but a religious person shouldn't be affected by the environment, but by the Creator.
Right, but that's also through the environment. It's outside of me.
So what does envy, lust, and order bring a person out of this world?
That, well, where does it write about the envy at the Creator, you know, all that? Let him read the sources, you know. It convinces you more than what I say. No, he talks about exactly these things, envy, lust, and honor. Where is it? In Shamati? Okay, so in short, this all is relevant both to the human environment and to godliness. In short, in the end, it's what's more important. But to not be influenced by the environment, only an animal isn't. Meaning by the values of the environment. An animal isn't impressed by that. What values will it be impressed by? And here you need to make the scrutiny. Why aren't you impressed by the environment? Because you live by instincts. And if the instincts determine your entire behavior, that's called an animal. The society develops by the light that reforms. You need to understand that humanity in general, just plain humanity, developed by the light that reforms. Otherwise, how would it develop? So, and then each and every person is influenced and impressed by the development of society. And that's how they all develop and advance. Yes.
Rav, can you please explain where does a person get the urge to fancy in the eyes of the others? Be fancied in their eyes?
In order for us to develop our will to receive, how will we advance? Everything starts from the still, then the vegetative, then animate, then the speaking level. Today we started discussing a bit the matters of spiritual work even before Adam Rishon. We'll expand these matters, but I don't want to immediately confuse you with a lot of detail. So everything comes by the light that reforms, that shines and moves the whole of creation towards the final correction. Only we can use it in a purposeful, educated way when we awaken it and direct it to us and we're directed to it, and then we can advance faster. Like he says that our progress was much faster than the other nations.
This urge also exists in the degrees of still, vegetative, and animate?
No, the matter is this. The push from behind in order to evolve exists in everyone. The attraction forward can be only in those who have the spark. Otherwise, how will they be pulled forward. You have a spark, and by the spark you can put yourself in a group, and by the group, according to the equivalence of form between the group and the light, you draw the light that reforms. It takes care of your spark, and thus you advance. So you can organize these things so well that as you advance, the natural kind of development, by that press of development, won't reach you. You'll feel that you're as if flying on a flying carpet. It all depends on how you utilize your spark by the group, by the society, and you bring the light that reforms to it. That's our whole race. How much do we have? Do we go faster than the force that develops us? And it's not that we do it because we don't want to be pushed by enemies and the dangers of destruction and so forth. Rather, we do that, we want to do that in order to be appreciated by the Creator. This is called to bring contentment, that this is what pushes me forward and not the influence of all those things. So much so that I then look at all these disturbances coming to me from many different problems and giving me a lot of trouble. And I look at it in a way that I don't feel it as troubles and problems, because instead of them, I envision to myself only the ability of bringing contentment to the Creator, of doing good in the eyes of the Creator. Meaning I transform Egypt to the land of Israel. That way. Well, think about it. Yes, what have you found? There is such a thing? Yes? Okay, good.
It's out of Shamati 175, and it was far away from you. And he writes, and a person goes and he carries out Torah and mitzvot in order to be favored in the eyes of others, and he makes the Creator's need to be his means, meaning through them he will be favored by others. And as long as a person has not been granted Torah for her lishma, for her sake, then he's working for other people. And even though one does not have any other option, rather working for others, but anyhow, in any case, he should be ashamed of such servitude. And then, by this money, kesef, longing, he will attain the longing for sanctity. And he says that it turns out that even though a person sees he has no need and desire as he should have, anyhow, and in any case, he should see and to try with his actions and thoughts to attain this desire. And this is the meaning of you created the money in your hands, your longing in your hands, and don't think this is a small thing. If it is in the hand of a person's abilities, by that he will attain the greatest lights.
No, John.
Yeah, John, you're leaving today, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Ken. How does this transition happen from entering the society and wanting to be favored by you and by everybody else to wanting to be favored by the Creator?
איך המעבר הזה מתרחש מהכניסה לחברה והרצון למצוא חן בעיניך ובעיני החברה לרצון למצוא חן בעיני הבורא?
By the light that reforms. There is nothing else that can change anything. Nothing can change but by the light that reforms.
But what happens in the process itself? Do I just have to keep working for you and for everybody here to like me and to be until suddenly the Creator is revealed and then I can start relating to Him?
מה מתרחש בתהליך עצמו? האם אני פשוט צריך להמשיך לעבוד כדי שאתה תאהב אותי והחברים פה יאהבו אותי עד שאני אתחיל לרצות למצוא חן בעיני הבורא?
יש לנו בכוונה.
We deliberately have the beginning of this submission to the group. Why? In order to choose the right society where we will have to work. At first, we start working in the group because we submit ourselves to the group. It's like with every society we integrate with. But later on, a person has to start orienting himself in a way that he submits himself, he annuls before the friends forcefully. He has to do it by effort. We see that when a person first comes, he's willing to do everything. He wants to be favored by the others, by everyone. He wants to be accepted. And after a while, when he was already accepted, then he begins to have disregard towards everyone. And that's it. That is where the matter is. That is where our work is. That now I have to work against my disrespect. That now I need to see that disrespect as exactly that opposite force, that what we call evil inclination, the helpmate against thee. Yes. And to the extent that I submit myself to the group by force, by effort, that I annul myself, to that extent, and only to that extent, I begin to absorb their spiritual values. And if I become as great as, say, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, and the group itself is actually little in their degree, but if I submit myself in a way that they're greater and I'm smaller, then I draw such a great portion of the light that reforms. That's the whole work. Yes. But people run away before, in that transition from the need to just have respect from society to disrespecting that and beginning to actually work. That's the place to work. Then the people run away because they start seeing the others as, what do they have? They have nothing. It's all, I'll just go home. I don't want to be among them. This is what he calls when the measure of concealment arises, like he writes in the Concealment and Revelation of the Face of the Creator, that I can't sit next to these people. It's even gross, even to that point. And I see other people in other places, they seem educated, knowledgeable, respected, rich, honored by the global society. It's a different story. Here, on the other hand, look at all these faces. Well, what, do you see anything? How do they look to us? They seem, such that I'm ashamed bringing some honorable people here. They'll look at all these faces here, and what will they see? What's in them? Whereas, so this is how it all seems to the person, and it will seem even worse. And worse, and against that you have to work in the right, true way, because it's all false, it's all your perception. That's how it works.
So, when you're in a state where you're disrespecting everybody, you can't annul yourself, where does a person draw the importance to perform that action nonetheless? Because his importance of the goal is also diminished because he gets it from the group, he gets it from the greatness of the friends.
שאתה במצב הזה של הזלזול, מאיפה אתה מקבל את הכוח לכבד את הבורא, כי גם החשיבות של החברה היא קטנה בעיניך. מאיפה אתה לוקח את החשיבות לעבודה אם אתה מזלזל בחברה?
From nothing.
I don't have the forces. If I didn't connect to them in arvut, that they are holding me when I fall, they don't supply that uplifting, that inspiration, then I have nothing. I need to invest in them. Not that they have to be concerned about me, but as much as I invest in them while I can invest, I am building in them like a capacitor, a place where stores my charge, my spiritual charge, and then it discharges into me when I'm in a great rejection, when I'm in a descent. And that's how I work. It's also, well, like a coil with a capacitor. It's exactly like in our world. There's nothing like unique here. It's very basic, simple systems. I store energy in there, my energy, and when I drop, it falls back into me without me activating it. It just empties itself into me. Yeah, it discharges back into me. It comes into me. That mechanism I built in them now becomes a mechanism that through it I get my feeding of surrounding light.
So it doesn't depend on me to annul myself when I have the resistance. You said before that I have to annul myself by force. That doesn't depend on me. If I invested previously, then the friends will do it for me.
זה לא תלוי בי להתבטל כשיש לי את ההתנגדות. אם אני השקעתי בהם מראש, אז החברים יעשו את זה עבורי עכשיו.
Not even the friends do it, but I built it in them because I invested in unity, in the group, and everything. When I fall, there's nothing I can do. That's actually good. That I'm only in a rejection while I'm falling, and that force I built in them can come and work on me. So you can ask, so what, I don't care how they treat me, that there's any agreements between us or not. Supposedly like with the bank, I invest, I get back. Or should there be some other human relation here, like something special in this state? And that depends on the depth of our inner work. That there is work where we I don't know which example to give you. Like in a car where when I accelerate and then I just let the inertia take me. I just continue in neutral and the car keeps going. And I don't know how to say this. Because there's this problem here that while I invest in them, I help them. Also personally, it's not that I'm just putting money in the bank. It's like when you put money not into the bank but in some kind of special plan. That with that plan, the bank can then build some factory. And then you get your money with an addition of what the factory made. So it's the same way here. Well, I don't know, we'll find better examples. Maybe we'll continue. What? Yeah, there's a lot about this. You can find it everywhere. Foundations for it, I'm sure you can find it. Guys, we have to continue. I'm sorry. Better with other questions, let it scrutinize on its own. Yeah, where?
מה שאין כן, אידאה דתית הרי הבסיס שלה
However, the spiritual idea is what is favorable in the eyes of the Creator. Therefore, he who has a religious idea can lift himself above humanity and also among the nations in our exile.
But again, what does that mean? Religious ideal. That is unity and love of the others. That's what he means, religious ideal. Nothing else but that. That is called to be inspired by the glory of the Creator, as much as you are similar to Him and are equivalent. But the secular ideal is that you reach the equivalence with your society, and that's a great difference.
And so it is among the nations of our exile. As long as we follow the path of Torah, we remain safe, for it is known to all the nations that we are a highly developed nation.
Because we have grasp in the reforming light. There's nothing developed on behalf of the beastly corporeal according to your brain. No. You should believe the wisdom in the goyim. Developed means that you can recognize the future. Approximate. Approximate what will happen. That's what there are in people with a point in the heart compared to the others. That's why it could be that they don't understand each other. Because each one has an own inner software. Also those without a point in the heart and those with a point in the heart. Also towards the goal, also towards implementing, also towards values in life. That is called developed. Developed is according to which reshimot, which level of reshimot I'm working in. Either a corporeal level of reshimot, or human, let's say, without saying beastly, let's say human, or the reshimot in me already on a divine level. That is called developed. Not developed in our brain. And also in feeling, no. But on the level of reshimot that are revealed and become implemented. That is what we call developed, which is Yeshar Kel. And where?
They exploited us each according to their own selfish desires. Yet we still had great power among the nations, for after all the exploitation there still remained a handsome portion left for us, greater than for the civilians of the land. But because people rebelled against the Torah and their aspiration to execute their selfish ploys, they lost life's purpose.
But truthfully, we didn't receive this addition to implement our spiritual reshimot in order to succeed on the corporeal level. It's not to the point. We need to work in unity between us, see what the separation between us is, how to work in uniting our lines, and instead of assembly and disconnection, and through that bringing the reforming light and organizing these things on the divine level, what are we good at? How to make those, I don't know, little computer chips. It's obviously very similar to spirituality. That's why we're successful. We are good at recognizing possible ways of unity in anything. Also in trade. How can I connect this and that and here and organize things and bring to a better connection, a more beneficial connection? that it comes from spirituality, and we use it in the corporeal world. That is very sad to see that success in commas, what we do. Same thing in science, same thing. Because we have no other wisdom but connection and disconnection between particles. That's it. It can be chemistry or physics, it doesn't matter. Psychology, everything has to do with assembling and disassembling. And that's why people who have a tendency, they're closer to divinity, they're more successful. But it's really using sanctity for impurity. And there's nothing to be proud of with that. Yes. Yeah, quickly.
You just said something about the Jews having a more developed ability to approximate the future.
Yes.
I feel that there's actually a complete concealment with respect to their role.
I'm speaking about ability in business, in trade, in all kinds of things, in politics maybe, where they let them in. But business and trade, they let Jews in, and you see that they're successful. Also in politics, they'd succeed if there was a free entrance, let's say. Because it comes from that deficiency, which is on a higher degree. They're more egoistic.
But why don't we have a feeling toward our special role? At least I could say about myself when I started studying Kabbalah. They told me I was the will to receive. Great, I can see it. But when we talk about our special role, I understand it with my mind, but I don't have any feeling toward that. I don't have some inner feeling that will push me in that direction or whatever.
I don't understand. What does it mean? Push you there or what?
Yeah, I really have a special role. I'm Jewish, and let's go for it. I don't have that special inner feeling.
It's not in you, right? Well, so it's hidden and it's revealed gradually. Also, a person who comes studying Kabbalah, he comes with the question, what's the point in life? Where am I going to have pleasure from? Are they selling anything that I can enjoy? Okay, I'm prepared. I came to you. Why does a person come from? He's despaired from all the other means in this world, and you tell him, oh, here, you understand where you can enjoy and how. So, how much does it cost? What? 200 shekel. How much is a course here? 400? 490. Whoa. But, what is it like? 10 in meetings. It's okay, right? It's not too much. Oh, it's considered cheap? Okay, here, you see. So he agrees.
Why don't we have the inner feeling of a destiny? Why is it hidden from us?
It's like a filter that if everybody would know in the simple way that success in any field is zero, if that would have been felt, and only on the path of the Creator you have this great reward and the only reward in your life. So, as Barasulam explains, who would, how do you say it? Who would be so naive and give up on the mitzvot of the Creator? Everybody would be, the Creator's servants. Everybody would have been beasts, doing it in order to receive and would have never been able to reach in order to bestow. The will to receive would be activating them. That's it, enough. Don't want to. Let's continue.
Starting with the words, and so it is. Sorry, next paragraph. But because people rebelled against the Torah in their aspiration to execute their selfish plans, they lost life's purpose, meaning the work of God.
That's what we read, that after the destruction of the temple, we reach this peak, and then the heaviness of the heart start. What does it mean, those who leave the Torah, the will to receive, this huge will to receive, that brought them to Mochin Dechaya in the first temple? That's the sixth state, what we just learned, and that's it. Only the seventh state of the Malchut of Atzilut was left. That's it. One more state in Gmar Tikkun, the general for everybody. Still vegetative, animate, everybody in Gmar Tikkun. So that's the only thing lacking. But when they reach that peak of their individual Gmar Tikkun, which is called Mochin Dechaya, and only Mochin de Yechida. Yechida means from Yichud, from uniting all of creation. So they got a little more will to receive that they have to reach according to the order of creation. And they couldn't overcome it because they're not able to. They received the will to receive from Pharaoh only to their degree, and they did everything they could to reach it. They corrected everything they had. A bit more was revealed, and they started falling. But why? Because the will to receive from all of the nations was revealed in them, from all those people from Babylon who remained outside the land of Israel, to that desire of Yashar Ked, to Dvekut. And then it started work. They started falling. That's why all those fallings, all this, including the exile that came out, it's acquiring the desire, the entire shattered general desire of the nation of Israel, but that was shattered from connecting to a desire that wasn't shattered. It was just revealed as evil. From the first sin of the Adam Rishon, and not from their own sin. There's the matter here that the will to receive that comes from Adam Rishon is shattered inside its ego, and the will to receive that was already in Pharaoh and came to correction and then falls. It's a mixture between these two parts of the desire. It's very interesting. We might talk about this once. It's like in a lab, we have to see it. The general desire to receive, which went through a shattering in the original sin of the tree of knowledge, and another part of the desire to receive called Yashar Kel, and then it, after it corrected itself, it falls back and connects with that previous desire. How do they connect between them? Galgal, Ta'anai, Machab, but how they connect between us in the order of corrections, it's like we studied yesterday, the end of the introduction to the book of Zohar. But the mutual influence on one another is interesting. How that shattered desire from the tree of knowledge and the desire from its own correction of the first temple. The fact that we learn in systems in the worlds that there was katnut of olam hanikudim, then gadlut olam hanikudim. They tried to do gmar tikkun and they were shattered. Then we have shattered vessels, true shattered vessels. Also the nation of Israel. What's special about their shattering? That they themselves had reached dvikut after the ego they got in Egypt. They corrected it, that ego. They reached Gmar Tikkun, meaning their shattering is exactly fit to that world of Nikudim, that they went with awareness, with their own desire, into correction. I don't have words. There's something, meaning now the discernments in them, they're very special, that if they mix with that shattered vessel from the times of Adam Rishon, a vessel that is shattered and goes through Babylon and now reaches this crisis. So there's a very special encounter between the two. And what's special is that all these vessels were mixed together, and now the reforming light starts shining on all of them. And in those vessels, there's souls that awaken towards unity, which are called Yashar Kev, the world Kli, Bnei Baruch, and there's vessels that are Israel from the past that can't awaken yet, but they used to be in the correction of the first temple. When Israel were in their own Gmar Tikkun, and there's vessels which are the nations of the world, and they are all mixed up together. They're all completely integrated, totally. We will still scrutinize that. All of politics and faith and the path of suffering and the path of the Torah, it all comes from that state. It's a very unique state, and we will study it. We can't really explaining it. We don't really want to integrate in all kinds of other forms right now, because we need to find something that we can explain to the general public, and this is for now we can't yet. Even for us it's hard to understand it. Let's continue.
ממילא, כל מי שזכה להון, הרי מעלה את המטרה שלו בכל הידור ויופי, ובמקום שהאיש הדתי
And because the sublime goal was swapped for selfish goals of life's pleasure, anyone who attained fortune raised his own goal with glory and beauty. And where the religious man scattered his monetary surplus on charity, good deeds, building seminaries, and other such collective deeds, the selfish ones scattered their surplus on the joys of life, food and drink, clothing and jewels, and equalized with the prominent in every nation.
That is speaking exactly on the shattering of the second temple.
By these words, I only mean to show that the Torah and the natural law of development go hand in wondrous unity, even with blind faith. Thus, the bad incidents in the exile, which we have much to tell of from the days of our exile, were all because we embezzled the Torah. And if we kept the commandments of the Torah, no harm would come to us. So, obviously, if we are inclined to draw the reforming light, then how could it be that something else will come instead? But only to correct us, strengthen us, and give us failures in order to correct, and failure in order to correct. Obviously. Yes, keep on going.
Congruity and unity between the Torah and blind faith and the development of human calculation.
This is actually the last passage from this article.
Hence, I hereby propose to the house of Israel to say to our troubles enough, and at the very least make a human calculation regarding these adventures that they have inflicted us time and time again. And here in our country as well, we wish to start our own policy, as we have no hope of clutching at the ground as a nation as long as we do not accept our holy Torah without any extenuations. To the last condition of the work lishma, and not for oneself, with any residue of selfishness, as I have proven in the article Matan Torah.
Meaning, it's impossible for us to be as a nation, and this already speaking about Independence Day, but it is impossible for us to be a people in the land of Israel unless we unite and keep all the laws which belong to the people of Israel on the land of Israel. The purpose of all the nations of the world will be ever more clarified, being only to help us get there. Why? Because then we can bring correction to the entire world, meaning we will be pushed and pressured. We'll be intimidated in any possible way from all sides, until we will understand that we have to connect, and only through the connection can we reach a corrected state. It's impossible that the land of Israel, the state of Israel, will be built without the correction of the people, meaning the correction of the people precedes the correction of the land, and the correction of the country, the state, that will come after the correction of the people. It precedes the correction of the world. Because through this system will come the reforming light. Therefore, the more we disrespect our connection and really build out of this connection the right political system through the correct relations between us, by this we delay the whole world from achieving a good life, obviously corporeal and also spiritual, that according to the plan of creation had to already be realized, and the Ari here writes about it from 500 years ago that it already has to happen. So that's clear.
If we do not establish ourselves accordingly, and there are classes among us, and we will undoubtedly have to be pushed right and left, as all nations are, and much more. This is because the nature of the developed is that they cannot be restrained. For any important notion that comes from an obstinated person will not bow its head before anything and knows not to compromise. This is why our sages said, Israel are the fiercest of the nations, as one whose mind is broader is most obstinate.
That's the differences between the sense and the sense. That if at first. When a person comes, he has a bit more, a bit less uplifted spirits during the ascents and descents. Afterwards, it's deeper in discernments, certain discernments. Afterwards, it's with respect to the society, more or less. Afterwards, it's with relation to the Creator, more or less. And so, one advances qualitatively in the change of states.
This is a psychological law, and if you don't understand me, go and study this lesson among the contemporary members of the nations. While we have only begun to build, this is already disclosed for the fiercest and assertives in mind, and this is why one builds the other ruins.
I think that there was no second example to this, like we had during the when we built this state with the Etzel and the Lechi. It was so horrific. It so unfits the Jewish people. Where did you see something like that in history? Only during the times of the destruction of the temple. What happened here? When the state of Israel was built, founded, they were really prepared to kill each other in all ways. Where did that come from? Is it natural? Could someone say a few years earlier that such a thing will come to mind between the Jews? To such an extent. The thing is that if you don't follow the right path, the evil is revealed in us in an uncontrollable way.
This is known to all, but there's only one innovation in my words. They believe that in the end, the other side will understand the danger and will bow its head and accept their opinion. But I know that even if we tie them together in one basket, one will not surrender to the other even a little, and no danger will interrupt anyone from carrying out his ambition.
What they want to say is, okay, may he defeat me. Afterwards, it will be revealed how bad he is, and then everyone will understand that I'm right. That's the common approach. Will never happen. Never. This way, no one can dance on the grave of others. And whoever thinks that, he allows to erase himself from the map by doing so. It's forbidden for us. It's like if we say, nah, let's leave dissemination altogether, let's leave everything, whatever happens, happens. They'll be worse off, they'll come to us on 4, so we'll give them some crumbs off our table. There is a very big punishment for that from heaven. God forbid to think that, and worse more, to do that without any pause, to continue the taking care of relentlessly, like caring for a baby. And it's so by nature that he'll tell you that he doesn't understand, and it's true, and he'll give you a hard time. That's his role. But this being the only way that we care more and more, and obviously where it's maybe possible to walk with tighter grip, but not to, be smart about it. No, I'll wait till they'll suffer enough and then they'll surrender.
In a word, as long as we do not raise our goal above the corporeal life, we will have no corporeal revival. Because of the spiritual and the corporeal in us cannot dwell in one basket. For we are the children of the idea. And if even we are immersed in the 49 gates of materialism, we will still not give up the idea. Hence, it is the holy purpose and for His name that we need. Meaning, we will put our goal up in importance, and our work and ability, our opportunity, will put that above every disturbance and doubt that comes to us on purpose. That is the exile and redemption. Okay, there's people who write here? Where? Where's Chaim? Yeah, Chaim. First of all, specifically those who belong to that dissemination. Don't have any misunderstandings. I always turn to them first. There could be 1,000 people wanting to ask if Lior Gur or Chaim or those people who take care of something specific. So, first of all, for them. Start writing, and I'll respect you. I said before, you said about Jews succeeding in trade because they have that quality of unity and they're using it egoistically. The people here supposedly are closer to that quality of unity. They already have a point in the heart. No, they corrupted themselves because they made a distance from themselves from corporeal unity. For us, it's hard to connect to in the corporeal world. Even if there was somebody, I don't know, somebody who do something else, once a person starts dealing with the wisdom of Kabbalah, that matter disappeared. He overcame it. He doesn't really. That's what he wrote in the last few sentences. That's it. We're not in that anymore. Yes. What, yes, maybe you thought maybe you'd succeed still? Or? So that's it. Whoever studies Kabbalah won't succeed in business. No, he can't. Not on the same level. He doesn't activate his desire for unity on that same degree. Even on the contrary, it repulses him. He can't. It's two different levels. I'm sorry. Yes. Yesterday, we learned the end of the introduction to the book of Zohar. And somehow we think of how we can publish it for Jews overseas. I don't know what you can really take out of there. Well, we'll talk about it, yes? No, well, that's my question. With all the efforts and everything we were talking about yesterday, it's not so clear how you can translate that into something that somebody can understand. Because if you really, really bring it down, you're still left with who are you, the people of Israel, with that article. Yeah. There he wants to tell us that if you deal with the internality of the Torah as opposed to the externality, then you're directing yourself correctly. Like we were speaking yesterday with the dipol, the bipolar thing, that you are aimed correctly. So we're not talking about inner or outer Torah. We can say about the circles. Our unity compared to lack of unity. Then that means that so it'll be the same article like we already wrote. Well, I don't know, write something. Try and express it in a different way. But that's true. It's not that it isn't. That the purpose of the nation of Israel is to show it to the world, and our salvation is in that, and also keeping ourselves everywhere in the world. You're writing it especially for people overseas, and also to watch ourselves in all places in the world is through unity. Not that we're united by the JCC or our kinds of organizations, but we're that specifically making those circles between us that they are more similar to that force of nature that is guarding us, that angel of Israel, call it, I don't know what, an upper force that, in that way, it takes care of us under the condition that we're united. You can add that, because it's true. It's just the matter of definitions and words. Are you writing? What? We opened the website, and there's a number of writers that are writing about Israel and how it came up. How do we explain the matter that development, well, first we settled here, and then we're starting the spiritual connection. Rav, that it's not what he's writing, it's in a different way. That he was actually part of that forum. Also Bala Sulam and also Rav Kook, and there was a lot of criticizing them. That they said that first we have to settle down here. Yeah, that's the thing, that the Zionists has prepared the ground for them. So how do we explain it to them that it's the opposite? Rav, how do we explain it to who? I'm not about to explain anything to religious people. Not religious, to regular people. Rav, what is there to explain to them? We came here, and now we need to build the nation of Israel. They don't have that question, why didn't we do it before and we came from there? Why didn't we come here united already? We couldn't. If you want, I can say a few words, but it has nothing to do with dissemination. It's because we... Now, at the end of this last exile, have reached a state where we are all mixed and integrated with all of the nations and scattered in all of the nations. We couldn't unite overseas. But we've came here when we ran away, like from Egypt. We ran away from Pharaoh's control. And now we're here, supposedly, even though it's the land of Israel, but it's not really Eretz Israel. It's not. We are now like before Mount Sinai. We have, thank God, 25 political parties, and more separation from them in the nation. And Mount Sinai between us is pretty obvious. You can reveal it in a nice stinky big way. That's Chel Bala Ve'Kiena, the whole matter of the throwing back up what you've devoured. And we have to start uniting around that mountain. That's our work. To reach a state that we need the reforming light called Torah, so we can, all our hatred, all our distance between us, we can turn it into the force of unity. That's it. Yes, Gil. Rav, a lot of when I read this article, I see how much they're speaking about us. I see how we're working. Every department here has a problem connecting to a different department. All the languages, in the languages, everybody wants to do his own project. It's hard for us to communicate, even to have a meeting together. It's as if from inside, people can't control it. Everybody wants to stay in what he's doing, and he's 100% positive that he's right. And we see that there's a separating force, and we can't overcome it. And he's saying here that until we don't go above our corporeal eyes, and supposedly we're only working on the goal, and I don't know, it's the nation of Israel, the world. I feel that if we here won't correct it, it won't happen. And I sat in a meeting this week with friends, and the same thing. Everybody there is working on his own project, and we want to work together, and it's even subconsciously, not that we have a bad...
That's what's revealed, right?
So how can we bring this idea, our idea, above?
I'm saying that you have to build it systematically, meaning for it to be far from what you feel. Where's that special place where you throw all the articles into, where anyone can enjoy what it says, what it's written in other languages, and he can adapt it to whatever he's doing? Where are the ideas that come to each and every person about clips, about some kind of slogans and all these things? Why is there no such can into which you throw it all into? There's no connection. There's no desire to share these things. I'm talking about it all the time, and for some reason it doesn't happen. So what do you want? Stay in Egypt. Nothing you can do. What did you innovate? This is how we are? Man, that's how we are. What do we do next?
I don't know, I'm asking you.
No, I have nothing to say. If you don't listen to what I say, at least what will connect between you and mutual work, then there's nothing that you can do. I do what I have to do, and that's that. What there is, there is. I try. I'm still happy that every time I can explain a bit more, I can tell a bit more. But I don't know how long will it last. Now maybe we have another we have a series of lessons up ahead of us where we can talk about something new. We're not living off our ability to advance, but our advancement is according to what the world is in need of. It's like with a working place. We open schools, and there are no teachers. So you take anyone, okay, you know the ABCs, you know how to read, you know how to write, you know how to teach something, great, be a teacher. Because we have no choice. This is why we have this role, not because we reached it. It's not good. But again, because the work has to be simple, only in realization. Yes, Chaim.
I don't know, maybe we didn't announce it, but actually every article read in Hebrew, English, it's disseminated between all the content people and all the translators. These things are right away spread between everybody, right away.
No, lately, yes.
Yeah, and there's a website of all your articles that come out.
Okay, just like this example, we have to also do this with all of our work. With all our work. And as much as I yelled about there having to be also one place for workshops, that each and every workshop has to be written there and so on, we're dancing toward it now. That each workshop has to be approved by the certificate people, and only from there you take the questions and the ideas and people that went through training and really got permission and so on, bit by bit. But this work, somehow it connects us. If it were not for our dissemination, I don't know what would connect you. You tell me. If not for the factory work. Now suppose we're gonna have Kiddush at the morning meal and we go home. When do we come back? No, for the third meal. And so on. Tomorrow the same. Only to study. No work, neither in the factory nor in this building. Neither in Tiberias, Eilat, or other places. And on the Tel Aviv port and on the parks or whatever. What can you do? You study and go. This way, you would have lost any reason to be connected in any way. Now, with coming out into different places of dissemination, then there you have 30 people, there you have 20 people, there you have 10 groups throughout together, things like that, those like this. Somehow it reaches connection. Who needs it? We need it, first and foremost. Therefore, whoever does not participate in it, he is cut off. Really cut off from the spiritual kli. Okay. Yes, Ran.
In the article, he's also touching a problem that we have in dissemination, at least at what it seems to me. When he speaks about the secular ideal and the religious ideal. The secular one is to be liked by other people, and the religious is love thy friend as thyself. And it kind of sounds like the same for somebody who isn't listening.
What listener?
The secular is listening.
I'm not talking about the secular listener. We're studying this in order to tell it to the secular listener, or to first of all study from it. We're studying the articles of Bala Sulam in order to first of all thoroughly chew them ourselves. And after we thoroughly chew them, and it becomes for us as inner nourishment, and it comes down to the it reaches the breast, and we can breastfeed through it, and we can fit it for the people that they can take it as milk. We, for us, suppose we're fit to eat flesh and so on. They need milk. And so this way we take this article and that's what we do with it. So this way to turn to dissemination, God forbid. This is why I'm saying, are our people ready for dissemination? How can you take an article where he talks about a secular and religious ideal? I don't want to hear religious and secular altogether. This is something that we don't talk about. This is something that we don't touch. And what does he say here about the religious ideal? The religious ideal, it's an ideal of the Kabbalists. It's not the religious. This way I can come up to people and tell them. I'll confuse them completely and entirely. They'll think that I'm trying to repent them.
No, without using that word, let's say spiritual. Without using let's say they're secular and spiritual. So the language supposedly doesn't make a difference between them.
This I don't understand. There's no difference between the two ideals?
in the language and the explanation.
No, I don't get it.
If the secular says, I want to be good to all of my surrounding people, and the spiritual one says, love thy friend as thyself. Here, there's a lot of secular people that we call them secular, and they say, love thy friend as thyself, and they wave that flag, and we're helping people, or helping old ladies cross the street on their behalf. They think they're spiritual.
You're right. We have to explain what does love another as thyself mean.
That's what I'm asking.
That it's not the ministry of, I don't know, for old home people or national security or something, social security. I don't mean that. This is something that you have to explain. Religious and secular, this is something that you have to explain.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That
No, you have to explain what does it mean, love another as thyself, that it's not just crossing elder people the road or whatever, which is also good, and we're not getting any education in this direction. But love another as thyself in terms of us having to be equal, where each cares for others, and this way we can reach a state where everyone will feel good, only on this condition, because it's adapted to the upper law of nature. Now, as a result, you explain to them that it's not simply so that you think about good and nice relations between people, but that by this you bring us good from the upper force that exists in nature, that in nature there's a hidden force, a positive force, a force of love, force of connection, and you want to discover it. We're yelling all the time, we want an equal society, a society of equals, so that everyone will be nicely connected, one shall help the other. Where's the love of Israel? Where's this? Where's that? And no one can resist that. No one can say that he is against it. But where is it? How can we come to that? We have to evoke a force that exists in nature. It doesn't exist in us for sure. We have to evoke this force that exists in nature. Let's do it. So we do it with the help of a workshop. First workshop, second workshop, I don't know. Maybe one isn't enough. In order to demonstrate to them, to emphasize to each and every one of them, to demonstrate to each one of the participants that there is such a thing in nature, that suddenly we can think about connection being a good, nice thing, that it is something good and successful, that has power and the ability to correct many things between us. And if we do it broadly, on a national scale, because how many people are there here? If you do it among 1 million people, that's it. You've reached final correction. You don't have any work beyond that, even less than that. So guys, we are close to realization. This is what you come to them with. This is why I'm saying, rewrite how you turn and what you do. Everyone knows how to write it. We'll examine what you wrote. We'll correct it. Each one will have a nice speech which you will know how to turn with it, how to put questions on it, how to develop it, and then you'll see that your workshop there on the Tel Aviv beach or in Eilat or wherever you are, you'll see that it's successful, and correct it time and time again, improve it until you reach a state where that's it. You can go out to any circle, anywhere, and succeed. and this way to build the series of workshops by which you truly educate the people. This is our work. That's it. Connection. What else will you do? You can awaken them, surely not physically, by clips, maybe by other things that you want to do there, that Benzi and others want to do there. There are a few such. We have a few such groups that are operating in different directions. But eventually, it'll nonetheless be work with the audience in a way that you meet them and you operate among them. Through all these clips, you will not be able to educate them. It's just pulling them. Then you'll pull them to participate in, I don't know, maybe some TV workshop. Maybe so. Maybe you'll do it so successfully, like a talk show or something. There are many such shows on television in different foreign languages, that you'll have such a workshop that they'll enjoy hearing from the different frictions and with the song, with something and some passages. Maybe you can keep them for half an hour, maybe even an hour on something like that. And I hope that that's what we'll do, and that's how it's going to be every evening on television, at least half an hour, that everyone gets some kind of a portion out of it. I really hope that that's how it's going to be. Otherwise, what is our television here? What does it exist for? How many people can it exist for? How many people does it exist for today in its current form? Only those that are interested in the wisdom of Kabbalah or in philosophy and things like that, but no, it's not for the masses. We have to really build our approach, the connection to the people. And unless you start rewriting and how you logically, emotionally, noetically put together this approach to people, unless you do that, it won't work.
So you're saying the key is that we keep chewing this material and we'll have something to come out with.
Sure. Not only chew, but also to swallow, turn it into milk, and also know how to feed it. It's really like a mom with a baby. You see, they too get special diets, they have better milk, better this.
טוב, כן, בואי בחור. שלום רב.
Hello, Av. Continuing your suggestion to write articles, can everyone write, or?
Anyone, limitlessly. Sit and write, that's it. Later show it to friends. Maybe we'll decide on some specific time on which we'll hear your speech here, because the audience, they can't stand too much talk. You have to say 3-4 sentences, question. 3-4 sentences, question. And such sentences that it will be clear why you're asking, that from these sentences they will have what to scrutinize. Women, go ahead, please. Miss Tzipora.
Bala Sulam in the last generation writes about the difference between the spiritual idea and secular idea. He's saying that if there's a secular person that wants to do good to the others, if you ask him what the foundation for this is, he say he doesn't know, that's what my heart tells me. If you ask a religious person, he'll say it's a mitzvah of the God, and he'll give his soul for that.
That's what Bala Sulam writes. Because he means by religious, spiritual.
Yeah, point in the heart. Now in the circles, we pass the message of love thy friend, and
So this is what I said today, that you can speak about the force immersed in nature, that it's the force of connection, that the whole of nature is connected in a single circle or a single integral system. The whole world is unfolding as being integral and connected. And since we reached the end of the correction, throughout the thousands of years of development, we've developed in more and more connection. And today it's locked and closed, and we're interconnected, but by a bad force. And this is all something that you can explain, and anyone will agree. Because see the interdependence there is between countries, people, everyone. Especially that now we're reaching states where more and more people they find themselves without work. There's nothing to do, no work. And then a person will feel himself even more dependent on others. And more people will want to be in equality, because if in the past you can succeed through this or that, that's it. Soon it'll all end, and then what? The developmental force, meaning the Creator, brings us to a state where we have no choice. We simply have to. We have to discover that we are in a round world. Yes.
Well, same article is saying that there's 3 different styles of disseminating the Creator. One to the points of the heart, which is the wisdom of Kabbalah. Second is what you're actually saying, proof from history and science that there really is an integral force and the general mind. And the third one, just propaganda. Now, what you mean is the second approach, that we actually, in a logical, nice, short way, have to explain to a person that he has no choice and he must be in a circle and connect.
I see that, yes, that this is the most general way where also the development of the world leads us to that naturally. And it has the least of the artificial structure, meaning in terms of foreign people and so on. We come up to people and say, it's like this, right? And like that. Okay, so we bring them the solution.
So in the nation of Israel of today, there's not some kind of percentage of point in the heart?
There is. There is. But they will also be impressed by our explanation and want to advance with us somewhat, and will know where we're from, that it all stems from the wisdom of Kabbalah, from Bnei Baruch, and will come closer to us this way. In parallel, we're also doing dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah. It will be clear too that we are from channel 66. Whoever's with us in a circle, he knows that we're from channel 66, right? Okay, so they have a way. A person who has an inner pressure that he can't calm himself down, I don't think that today we're so unknown and hidden. If it's burning inside him, then somehow he'll know. The reforming light will bring him to us. Other women, whoever wanted to ask? No. Okay, so back to the boys. One more. Okay.
Instead of maybe that it'll be obvious to them that we're from 66, I always have a feeling that the wisdom of Kabbalah and Bara Sulam, that is the source and the foundation. That's what I'm building on. That's probably the only thing that is making our message more unique than anything else. Why instead of, why don't I say that's where I'm coming from? Not speaking about force of nature, speak about the Creator still in the nation of Israel, even in secular people and whoever. There's something that connects him to it, even somebody that's complete secular.
If I say the Kadosh Baruch Hu,
Not Kadosh Baruch Hu.
then I'm coming to repent, people. Boreh, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Creator, however you put it. At least half the people in Israel, or 100% of the people that you meet in the circles, well, not 100%, 80%, do not want to hear this word. It's neither in their daily lexicon, and it's not close to them according to their worldview. You have to bring it to them gradually. You have to bring them to a feeling. First of all, they feel an ascent, transcension. That you start discussing, where does it come from, why. Let's annul ourselves towards each other. We'll feel it even more. Let's connect between us. We'll feel this force between us even more, and so on. And then we start explaining to them that we are like we have this new sense that we have built between us, a common sense. This common sense can reveal a common force, a single force, conclusive, comprehensive, that exists in reality that we reveal now. Like I revealed by my ear or through my eyes some phenomena in nature, that there are such waves that I discover and feel reality through, then now I discover an additional force that can reveal an additional reality to me. But all that coming from your actions, we know you, to bring them this way, and it's natural.
I'm not speaking of coming from nothing and saying come and
Afterwards,
discover
yes.
the Creator.
Afterwards, gradually, yes, you bring them to a state where you even teach them about the Creator. You'll explain to them what the mitzvot mean. But now in the circle, we made this effort called we made a mitzvah. What mitzvah? Love another as thyself. We took a step forward. No, God forbid, no. Yes, actually, yes. Why not? Really so.
I'll say simply, I'm speaking about the stage of the first connection with a person at a place where you come and speak about things that aren't really defined, and we're trying to find maybe something here that we have, something that's the wisdom of Israel. I don't have to come and say, I don't know, but the wise of the Israel from all the generations, something that is connected to all of us. And I can say,
this is what you called me for. You told me that it's going to be interesting. You told me that you will show me something good about life. What are you shoving the sages of Israel for into the talk?
no, what? I can show him a good life. What am I, an expert in relationships that I can show him?
You have to. You have to show him that there is a situation here where suddenly he feels himself good. That even spouseness could be...
But as a result...
No. If you'll use, suppose, realize, better said, if you will realize these things, implement them in his relationship with his spouse, then they will be truly like two lovebirds instead of like two dogs. What are you talking about? You have to show him how it works in under every condition, among the children, if they have a dispute. Please, you have to show it from the action. Oh, the theory, he goes home. It was interesting, okay. If he also has the right mood for philosophy. He's walking on the beach, a nice day, and you start talking to him about the sages.
I'll try and explain again. Parts of the complaints that we hear Is, oh, it was great. We felt great. We get up, 2-3 minutes have passed. I'm already fighting with somebody in the line. Everything I went through is gone.
Right.
So what are you selling here? An illusion that we're all sitting?
Not an illusion. I showed you that there is such a thing, reaching good, nice conditions. Furthermore, that these states could be good for life, for any condition in life.
What is your
Let's learn.
base? What is your foundation? Not
Me?
the Rav Leitman. Me in the circle. Where am I coming from?
This is what they're asking about.
Where'd you come from? What is your ideal that you brought? What are you, a communist? What is unity?
Connection. Connection of the people of Israel. It's the basis of the wisdom of Israel. We say the wisdom of Kabbalah, or sometimes it's not worthwhile saying, but connection. It's the basis of the nation. You can explain here about Abraham, our patriarch. Depends who you talk to, but connection. All of Israel are friends, love another as thyself. It is the basis, the foundation of our nation. Accordingly, our nation was based. This is what our nation was based on. Why can't you talk that way?
Unity, from my experience, when you're giving unity, it's not something people want. Nobody wants unity. But when you come and you tell them, I'm coming from the source of the wisdom of Kabbalah, I'm coming from the Torah of Israel.
Okay, maybe. I'm all for it. I'm with you, if so. But if not, I tell you that we can also say that we come from connection. But, I'm not talking to you now about it. I'll talk to you about it in 10 minutes after you will sit with us in a circle, and then you will understand what kind of connection we're talking about. That it's not something vague or like political parties say or whatever. I'm talking to you about a method where we will know how to connect to one another, where we will care for health and good things for your kids and for everyone, and we'll take care of all these things. Why? Because we'll make ourselves so connected that this force of connection will necessitate us to act this way, to think this way, and it's possible, and nothing else will help. And I just showed you, mister, how to come to that. And it's true, after a few minutes, then you can tell him, you come out of here, I'm telling you, 2-3 minutes, count where you, how long does it take for you after we finish this circle to go back to your own nature, to your deeds? How long does it take? And then what do you explain to him? That you see that we have to renew it time and time again. So we have to renew the contact. Every evening you can either watch us on television, or when you're free in your own spare time, you can go on this link and watch these workshops and see how beneficial you really are towards your life, and you will know how to get along with any person. And first and foremost, you will save yourself. And it's not that you're a sucker, that you're going to connect with others so they will dance on your remnants, so to speak. No, on the contrary, you will see how you can use the force of good and get all the good possible things from the connection among people. Start talking to him this way. You're giving him this kind of a method for free, that he can succeed in anything. Furthermore, even in business, even in other things, if he comes with this good and nice attitude, then everyone will be delighted to make business with him, to work with him, and not like all of us, like a dog-eat-dog world. Write it at home in short, and then we'll think. Okay, there are a few women that we have 10 more minutes. Go ahead. In short.
About the article that we read, there was a question that came up.
So the question.
It's very clear what we can do with friends who love us or don't love us. How do I know that I'm giving contentment to the Creator? To my friends, I know when they like me or not.
If you're giving contentment to your friends, then you're giving contentment to the Creator. As simple as that. You, lady.
Two things. There's a feeling that we are coming from a point that is too low. The friends need to raise their feeling, at least, in their confidence of the message we're coming with. That's a general saying for everybody.
That's why I say that you have to be better immersed into the message, rewrite it, correct it all the time, and everyone has to have like a notebook where he prepares the workshops with others, on his own, talks about it until all these workshops will truly be like, don't rely on what you're being prepared. There are such workshops that are standard workshops. But I think that you have to, not that you're immediately permitted to disseminate what you want, but to also prepare workshops of your own. And we have to discuss them, and we have to think, how do we take from all these workshops the best possible things and advance? And even if it doesn't work this way, you'll at least advance from understanding the flow of these things, the logical order of things. What do you have to ask, and how to answer, and how to explain, and so on.
And the second thing was what Hanoch said, that I think that the message isn't come back to your previous nature, but from now change your relation to your environment.
I'm not telling a person what to do. I'm not telling him what to do. I'm not a teacher. I'm not teaching a small child. I'm only showing them the opportunity. Of course I want him to do that, but it's forbidden for me to say that. He's not coming to me in order for me to be his tutor. And God forbid I don't want to show him that. I'm very careful about not going into his field.
But if the bottom line, you come and you...
Bottom line, I tell him, you saw nice things? Yes. In a few minutes you'll see yourself coming out of this state. Also true. I want to put all the cards on the table. You want to live your whole life feeling this good, nice atmosphere, good connection with the environment? Please. For this you have to renew this connection, this attitude, this relation all the time. I'm telling him the truth. I'm not saying that now you have to...
That saying if everybody would change their behavior, maybe not personally, because no people can take it as criticism, but if we come out with the saying that if everybody changes their approach in that way, the world will look differently. We know that. That's my recommendation.
It's just to shoot in the air. I don't know. That means that you're unrealistic. If everyone, then it would be great. He'll say, no, nice girls, only unrealistic.
You said this once, and it's very smart, that if you don't criticize personally, but you say general...
I don't want to talk in the air, that if everyone would be that way. He'll understand that, you can say that, but not for this to be your last word. It has to be some kind of one of the summaries, that if everything will be this way, then surely we'll solve all problems. That not, that he'll go with it. Because then he understands that it's unrealistic and he'll let it go easily. You say you can really advance this state where you will be a good salesperson, or a good husband, a good dad, at work, a good colleague, or a worker, or employer, or you will know how to correctly connect with society. You will start projecting back at you a good force from society and the inner force of nature. I'm not telling him the whole world, you depend on the entire world. No, you take care of yourself. You can now get a remedy that will cure all your problems personally, and not that he depends on another 1,000 people, that if the whole world will be this way, how good we will all be off. No. I want for him to walk as correctly as possible, that he has connection, a new connection to reality. Okay, by this we have concluded for the time being. What lesson do we have in the afternoon? With women, men, what? Same. Okay. So we have another 2.5 hours. No, another 2.25 hours afternoon lesson. Good. Afterwards we have beer. But that's only at 7:45. Okay, what can you do? We'll wait for it. All lesson long. Are there any urgent questions? Not about what we studied. No. Where do we send what we write? I don't know. You have to organize all these things. I'm as if, again, pushing you. And if you can't get organized, then no question about it. The problem is that you feel yourself now among 300 people that you don't know what's the answer, what's the address, what's the this, what's the that. Like you come, that's how you go. That's the question. There's an address. So sit.
Until Passover, we used to send workshops to Leo, and if for now it's Leo, every kind of workshops, whatever we want, in order to use it for our new coming out.
Is it clear? I don't see that it's that clear. Leibovich, what are you exploding about?
Small and important question. The feeling in the workshops where you say that you can talk to him after he feels. Does he feel a different kind of unity than yesterday I sat in the living room with my friends and had a good feeling? What patent are you giving him? You're saying that in the feeling in the workshop, you can solve things with it. What's the difference between that feeling and something he can feel with his friends?
I don't know. Go and check.
So I'm saying, from what I checked, we're not bringing anything but a good feeling for a few minutes. A good feeling, but say you can solve everything in life with it?
What does it mean to solve everything in life? If every moment in life I'll feel this way, is it good? Do I solve the moment-to-moment problems?
If my whole life I feel this in the circle, yeah.
So that's it. That's called to solve your problems in life.
That I'll constantly sit in circles and...
No, I don't have to sit this way with everyone all the time. I have to have this attitude towards everyone. Maybe I'll never need to come to another workshop. Maybe one workshop is enough for me, and I remain in this attitude towards reality. I'm in heaven.
So he can feel that there was something new, that with this relation, you can get this...
I am not going to solve all the problems with this feeling I got on the workshop, this certain corrupted state, this or that. I have nothing to take from the workshop and to be all impressed by it and to enter some place. Suppose I come home, and as always I get an immediate cold shower? Why did you come 3 hours late? Where were you? I was in a workshop. I had such a great time. I enjoyed the connection. It was so beautiful. And what happens then is clear. But when you come to it, you have to build the workshop anew from scratch according to that specific state that you have there. That's called to solve things. You were given, I don't even know if it's a tool, an approach, an attitude of what to do every moment in life.
So Chanoch's question, that I really agree with what he said, and I think Lior Gur said the same thing, and Moshe and everybody are saying the thing that we need to disseminate Kabbalah and not...
Guys, I agree 100%.
What do you mean agree? It's 5% from this factory.
Only I don't know. I send you in all different directions. Check it out. I don't know. Maybe, really, if we say that it comes from the wisdom of Kabbalah, the people will accept it. And not that the next moment they'll start kissing mezuzahs again and looking for, the small blessings and charms or whatever.
So in that we have to get better in explaining what Kabbalah is. We have the same introductory lesson to all of Kabbalah. We never got better in it.
I agree with you, and of course I agree with Baal Sulam, and even with Chanoch. I have no problem with it, only I think that maybe it's a smoother entry that we bring him to a workshop, and then at the end of the workshop, when you give him an address, is it clear to him what it is?
No, why?
Why not?
No.
66, channel 66, Kabbalah. The question is, on the first workshop, do you pass on to him all the questions about the wisdom of Kabbalah, giving him the solution? And he doesn't feel like, and he didn't come to argue or be convinced. He come to find the right solution. What does he care? How is it called? You have, suppose, half an hour with that person. In that half an hour, you can explain to him what is the method itself, and that it is specifically the wisdom of Kabbalah. I don't think so.
Not in the circle. If we might find different ideas, but
go ahead. I'm not against. I'm just, my question is still, I'm asking you. You're in the field. When we will start speaking from zero about the wisdom of Kabbalah, is there a barrier or isn't there?
Let's do by lifting hands.
I don't want to do it. I don't want. Even if there is one case, it's enough for me. Then let's start with connection. No one can go against connection. Afterwards, in the end of the circle, you have no ability to explain immediately what the wisdom of Kabbalah is. But it's like this, it's like that. They'll start telling you, like Baal Salam says at the beginning of the introduction, but you're not 40. But where did you study the Shas and the Poskim? Where you take it from? My grandfather was a Kabbalist. Why start? What kind of an educator are you if you think about yourself this way, that you want to convince me? You want to tell me that the world flipped upside down and I don't know the world anymore? Nature is the same, didn't change. Everyone's against the wisdom of Kabbalah, secular and religion, because in its foundation, the wisdom of Kabbalah is against the ego. So a person will always be against it. In 100 years, he'll have concern about it, fear from it, angels, this, that, what I need it for. Let me go.
But how can it we have to start explaining it.
No, I don't want to explain it. Don't want to explain it.
They'll think it's advanced psychology, something so wise, it's something different. Let's give it to them, this truth.
I give up. I only don't know how can you be an educator? This is something that I don't understand. That you have to go with nature, bring up a lad according to his own ways, and to approach in a way that he doesn't want it to begin with. Unless, sell him red strings, something that you're following his desire. Take $5, put it on your hand, you'll be lucky. Yes. $5 for luck, worthwhile, for sure. And you have plenty such. But to invest it, to be a Kabbalist, he comes back home now, and what? From now on, I'm a Kabbalist. That's that. Boy, what kind of relation, what kind of connection is there? Start talking about. He'll start talking about it in different places. He'll find you and beat you up after he'll hear the response of his relatives and everyone. Okay, that's it. Let's go pray. Have nothing left after the lesson with you. One more small thing. We are now going to we'll update about it. We'll call people and we'll tell them, first of all, we'll call the people that were in our circles, and they'll get this phone from here from Petach Tikva. They'll have a warm phone call. They'll call him. You were in the circle. What was your impression? Where would you like to continue with it? This is one kind of phone calls. The other kind of phone calls, this is a kind of phone call that we'll make from all of Israel. It's kind of like a manipulative question that we're calling from the Arvut movement, and we're asking about his opinion about the connection and the people of Israel. And through a certain technique, we find out that connection is the right thing, those that never thought about it, and in each one of them we put this idea that connection is good, and eventually whoever wants can leave an email. And now the question is, we'll get back to those that think that it's important. Now, how important is it for every person from the Israeli Kli to participate in it? I hope that you prepared good tutoring for it, that no one will be wrong. If no one will be wrong, then it's worthwhile to use it completely. Youth, older, younger, doesn't matter, everyone. Women, men, I'm all for it. We saw a good result from this kind of connection in the past. It's cheap, it's mobile. It doesn't relieve us from going out into the field later on, but undoubtedly this is something that you can do. And if a person has half an hour a day, where will it be organized? The first kind of phone calls will be from here, from Petach Tikva, and the other kind through Meir, Shai, all those responsible for the groups. It's always better doing it together, but anyone who has already training, you can do it at any time. Only guidance. Rebovich, you hear this? You have to go through some serious good training. Otherwise, you'll start washing them with Kabbalah. Okay, so now we'll have updates. You'll explain about the project, and then Miel.
בואו נשמור על השקט, השעה של הסעודה תהיה 9.
טוב, חברים, בקצרה, השיעור לא הסתיים, השיעור מסתיים עוד רבע שעה כשנגמרים הדיווחים.
Okay, so we're moving to updates. 15 minutes. Like we just said, we are going to have this very big phone operation that will divide into two parts. From here, from Petach Tikva, here we need qualitative personnel that want to reach deep talks with people that were with us on the circles. We call them up, we ask them about their experience, we ask them where do they want to continue to, and the idea is to offer them something that fits them. If it's taking some course, if it's taking some workshop, if it's a newsletter, if it's whatever a person wants, but it has to be a very warm, heartly talk, something like what we did in the past, and our local dissemination here in Petach Tikva, and where we met people in person, and something very heartly. The other type of phone calls is where we were making like a survey, something very common in different places, and on the survey we ask them, we say, hello, my name is Yaniv, I'm from the Arvut movement, and toward the Independence Day I'd like to ask you 3 short questions about the unity of the people of Israel. It's a questionnaire for the unification of the people of Israel. It will take less than 30 seconds, less than 3 minutes. Can we talk? And the whole talk has to be very nice and heartly and warm. And we ask him the first question, which actually shows the extent of his awareness to the need of connection among the people of Israel. So we ask the first question, what are those moments in which you felt that the people of Israel were very connected? One is during the time of war, the other is during the time of peace. What would most of us say? Time of war, because we're very aware of connection, and we know that the people of Israel don't know how to unite in time of peace. So a person that feels that during the time of war he already thought about the unity of Israel, consciously or unconsciously, and for him you just have to strengthen how do we do it. And therefore the follow-up of this question will be 2 questions that ask him, if we invest human resources in the unification of the people of Israel in times of peace too, what will it do? We give him a few opportunities, and it doesn't matter what he answers, but it brings him to the thought that unity is something good and practical. And the third thing is, what will cause the people of Israel to be connected in times of peace too? And by this, we help a person understand that unity is something good and practical. And if a person answers that during the time of peace our nation is more united, he didn't think about it that much, maybe it's the first time that we ask about him at all, and therefore the follow-up of this question will be 3 short questions to talk about the extent to which the unification of the people of Israel is their savior. Were you to know that the people of Israel, when they were united, they succeeded, and when they were separated, they failed? Would you be willing to publicize the idea of unification, and so on and so forth? And so through such questions we plant this idea in a person that the unity of a person can sing regardless of the answers he gave at the end of the questionnaire. If he answered us, then then he'll come out with the idea that connection is good. And if he wants, he can leave his email and a few additional details about himself. There's something short that you fill in the CRM system, and goodbye. double idea here. First of all, planting the idea of the unity of the people through plenty of talks. We want to make a lot of talks, a lot of phone calls, and we can do it from all of our groups in Israel. As you see, the guidance is very simple. We just have to keep a good, nice, warm kind of connection, and whoever wants to leave their phone, their email, they will immediately get also an SMS through the system. Thank you very much for participating. So this will be left in his mind. And the second thing is that he'll get a newsletter that offers him the video of This Is Our Life, the People of Israel, and other videos that actually strengthen the idea of it being practical, and through this we will connect him to the Arvut movement, and afterwards, if he wants, according to his desire, gradually, bit by bit, to whatever he wants to connect with. This is the idea. It's simple, it's practical. Darvut College, Michal and our marketing department, Daniel, will take care of this, and we expect that we'll all participate. It's very simple. We have time for questions?
The questions that let them not be read, but more of a like speaking. And
okay, eventually after you grasp the idea, say it the way you say it. The main thing is that people will hear the idea, as long as it's sincere, coming from your heart. I'm sure that there will be
beyond planting that seed, is there something to get them to do something?
no motivation to action. This is the next phone. If you want to invite him someplace, something. Furthermore, that person that got this phone, and we're talking about thousands of people, tens of thousands that we can reach in a short time, when he will walk through the Tel Aviv, wherever we give these circles, and we'll hear it. Because that's it. It's already implanted there. The idea here is the exposure. So any registration will be through the groups. Meir and Shai will organize it. And whoever wants to register for the follow-up through Lior Hashema, who is responsible for manpower, or through our 1-700 number. In short, we have a new era of telephones. Everything is preset in a great way. We'll do it that it will fit the hours that we can call and also hours that people can be called. We wanted to do it before Pesach, but because of the preparations and everything, we postponed it for after Pesach. The idea now will be around the people of Israel, the Independence holiday, but later we can do it about any topic, and I hope this will be successful, so it's something infinite.
Eilat, we're finishing a week of Eilat. I was there in the beginning of the week when Shai Livnat is there now, and a group of friends. We did about, let's say 7 or 8 circles in the evening, an average. We had about 100 people left their information with us. And we've exposed ourselves to a lot of people that were out on the boardwalk, and we're going to do it mainly on weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So whoever wants to sign up, men and women, first of all, you have to sign up in the link on Bibi Pnimi. So it was sent to all the groups too. You just, first of all, sign up. You don't just show up. You get an okay from us, and then you can come. The good news is that our villa, thanks to our construction people, the villa's prepared, and we'll have the ability to let women and men sleep in the villa, and we can start our activities in an organized way. So please sign up, plan everything you need ahead of time, and just once you get the okay, you come. And the friends from Eilat that are there now asked to give us a message. In Eilat, we're going through a lot of states and surprises from the Creator, but it's obvious that there's none else besides Him. It's pretty cold, and in the last few days, the winds have emptied the boardwalk. So everybody is connected here for preparation. When we see how the circles are being filled, except even though it's cold. So yesterday, because it was cold, we started just singing, and a few people sat down, and we continued our preparation. After a while, we continued our conversation circles, and people came in. We did 6 circles in freezing cold. So we're discovering the Creator in every corner, and we're thankful for being able to disseminate. So friends, we have an opportunity. Eilat is starting off. Sign up from next week, get the okay, and just come. L'chaim.
I
want to update about a Steels project that Arik Prince initiated. We have a friend from the Tel Aviv group. Her name is Inbal. She works for newspapers. She's a news photographer. And Marik and Lotus, they're trying to introduce it into the Israeli media, one of the big papers. What we're doing is the story of a photographer that was truly inspired by the unity that was here during the time of the military operation a few months ago. Then she is disturbed deeply by the separation, and she goes out into the field and she finds throughout Israel these circles happening all through the Passover and so on. And she sees all the different people coming together, and despite the government, despite everything that the media is talking about, people are looking for the connection, for the unity, and this is something she expresses through still photos and beautiful photos. And will also be accompanied by her story how she meets the Arvit movement on the way. So what happened last week when we went out for the 2-day shoot in many places all over Israel. Is there any other ideas? Then please come and offer, and let's support this project. Friends, now prayer, 9, meal. Please throw away the cups.
מלכתחילה אני כבר חשבתי שרם הולך, מה איתה?